Today, I wanted to talk a little bit about the heart. The heart is something that is very, very interesting. It's such an interesting organ, and this is what we are focusing on this week is actually the heart. The first thing about the heart, so I want to tell you about four main things about the heart, how it's an essential organ, how it's actually another brain, how the heart produces its own magnetic field, and how our hearts communicate with the fields of other people, and of course, how yoga helps. So the first thing is, of course, the heart is an essential organ. And if you see all these emergency medical movies, you will see how the heart is in the center of the drama, or the detectors on the person's heart, and you see the movement of the heart. And basically when the heart stops beating and that line stays, goes beh, 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 and then dee, that continues. We no longer exist in this realm as we know it, because the heart is so crucial towards our life. The minute our heart stops, pretty much life as we know it ends. So it is an organ that we really cannot do without, as you can see from that. So it is essential, and this is why we need to look after our hearts. This goes from what we eat. I'm reading a book right now that talks about wheat belly, and it really talks about the effects of wheat. Wheat Belly by Dr. William Davis. Please look at it. It is amazing. It's not just about fats. It's not just about high fats or meat that also affect the heart, but also wheat can also severely affect the heart, and weight gain as well. And weight is very much interconnected with the heart. Another super amazing thing I find about the heart is that it is made of material that is incredibly similar to that of our brain. So if you think of our brain produces electrical impulses, and those are the impulses that travel from different parts of the brain and from the brain to our organs in terms of the nerves or the neurons. The very interesting thing, if you remember your physics, about the electricity is every time you have electricity going through a wire or going through any substance, you will have a magnetic field going around that wire or that body. The more electricity that it is in that body, the wire, the stronger and wider the magnetic field will be. So like the brain, the heart produces electromagnetic activity as well. In other words, it's called another brain. Some people call it another brain. So we can look at our heart as other brains. And I think the English language gives us a lot of cues on that. It says, follow your heart, right? Go with your heart. What does that mean? I think it means that the heart gives us information. And it's not a question of either or. And I'll come to that a little bit later, how yoga can help. It's about using the information that our heart gives us, as well as the information that our brain gives us. And these two are always interconnected, and they're communicating with each other. It's not just top down. It's not just the brain telling the heart what to do, or the brain giving the heart information. The heart as well can give the brain a lot of information, not just about what's happening in our own body, but what's happening in the situation about that. And the clue for that is the third point about the electromagnetic field which the heart produces around us. So electricity can be measured. Magnetism can be measured. And what they found is that field from the heart. Remember, the heart is pretty much the size of our fist. So it's no small organ. Maybe not as big as the brain, but even though it is this small, it is beating. And the beating of the heart is controlled. It's a symphony, and it's controlled electromagnetically. And it creates a field around us, which instruments have shown to be about 3 away from us. We have this field coming out of our head, going all the way around, pretty much similar to the field that I talk about visualizing at the end of a lot of yoga classes. That for me is mind-blowing, that we have this field. What does it mean if we have a field? For me, if we have a field, it leads to the fourth point. We can sense things that come into this field. And we can sense when we're with other people's fields. I always think of those Star Trek movies where you have a spaceship and it has a field, and they always say something has broken the shield or something has come into our field. Our bodies are like that as well. The feeling of our fields are different depending on the beat of our hearts. Don't think of a field as static. Our heart is beating and it is dynamic. And depending on how we feel, our fields will change. So our fields, if we are sensitive enough, we can pick up on the fields of other people. We can sense. We can read into other people or sense what's going on with other people just from the sense of their field. So that's pretty mind-blowing as far as I'm concerned. And where yoga comes in is yoga increases our sensitivity. It increases our awareness. We become aware, maybe not fully on a conscious level, though that can happen as we develop, and we are all born with different skills of awareness. But the more and more we do yoga, we become aware of our own fields, of how we are feeling. Does that feel right? Did I not feel uncomfortable when this person came into the room? Why do I feel uncomfortable now? There's a lot of information that is there, which the more awareness we have, the more information we'll be able to get in with. And of course, there's also the release of emotions. The more we're in tune with our mind, body, and soul, the more we can make those decisions. I want to end with an amazing fact that I read many years ago. It's probably over 25 years ago for sure. I'm a bit of a science buff. So one of the phenomena, or one of the deaths in babies, which confused scientists for a very, very, very long time, is cot death. Why is it that a baby that is left in the cot on their own to sleep would just surprisingly die? I mean, there are many theories on why this was the case, but this is the one that I heard. And there could be many reasons, but this one definitely made a lot of sense to me. One thing you will realize about cot death is it is pretty much unheard of in cultures where the mother and the baby sleep together, or the baby indeed is sleeping with any other person. But where the baby and the mother sleep together, cot deaths are pretty much unheard of. And always there's a fear that, I'll lie on the baby, I'll sleep on the baby, but that is actually not the case. That is not the case at all. So what they found was that the field of the mother, the magnetic field from the mother's heart, is in tune with the field of the baby. When the baby sleeps near the mother, the baby is within the magnetic field of the mother's heart. The baby's heart, this young heart, doesn't have the pace keeper, to be able to keep the rhythm enough on its own when sleeping. So when the baby is on its own, the baby's on her own in the cot, she loses the pace of breathing, of beating the heart. The heart stops beating because there's no, count for the beat. And this is how the baby breathes. It's just like they stop breathing. I know, I'm a bit of a science buff, but blew my mind away. And if this can happen with babies, what is happening with the rest of us in terms of how our hearts interact with each other? Join me for a heart activation class. Yoga is amazing. This is the series of poses that kept me hooked in yoga. I started yoga because of a breakup, so I had heart issues, and I didn't realize how much energetically I had issues. And when I did camel, one of the poses, I just felt this amazing release. And this is how yoga can help us release these emotions that are locked up in us, taking and sapping our energy. And it is this routine that has kept me doing yoga all these years. So really looking forward to having you. And if you want to look at how to get to the class, just look at the top of the Kuthuta Yoga page. Right on top, you'll see the URL to get your way into the Kuthuta Yoga Online Studio. You will just need to sign up and just register for the Test Live product, Test Live class, and I will see you there. Until next time, bye.